Megan Rapinoe speaks out after equal pay mediation breakdown. It's interesting that that's trending with only 2.4 thousand people tweeting about that. When the story below it, something related to Denmark, it has 17.4 thousand. It's higher than that. That makes no sense. It's right directly below one that has 13,000. This one doesn't even have a number about people tweeting about it. I don't understand. I know there's political bias on Twitter, and it's a little disgusting in what's advertised. That's part of why I don't like going on Twitter very often. But I mean, that's just stupid. And it's framed in a way as if it's legitimizing these talks about equal pay. It's not legitimizing talks about equal pay. It's legitimizing talks about unequal pay. If you have two salesmen who work on commission, and one of them is a male, so I guess I can't say salesman, salesperson, two salespeople. One of them's a man and one of them's a woman, and the man gets paid 8% commission, and the woman gets 14% commission, purely based on the genitals between their legs. That's a little bit unfair. It doesn't matter that the man earns more because he makes more sales, generates more revenue. That doesn't matter. I mean, if you want to talk about actual equality, then women should actually be either women should be earning less, women's soccer should be earning less, or women's professional soccer players should be earning less, or men's professional soccer players should be earning more. But that's not what's discussed, because what the focus is, oh, the U.S. women's soccer team performed way better than the men's soccer team, and they're still paid horribly less. Why do you think that is? Why do you think when you go to a high school basketball game, there's very few people that show up compared to a college basketball game or a professional basketball game? Unless the exception to that is when a player like LeBron James when he was in high school was playing, or these really highly rated prospects. When they're playing, these really famous popular players, when they're playing, they draw a big crowd. Do you know why? Because it's less entertaining to watch. There's less competition. There's less skill involved. There's a story about, I think, an Australian professional women's soccer team that lost to a 16U or 17U or something males soccer team. So basically, these high school males beat the professional women's soccer. And it's just because there's a skill gap between the two. So it's less interesting to watch women's sports in general. There's some exceptions to that, obviously. My cat is freaking out. I don't understand why these talks are this way. And the data it's right there. It's been every single person who makes a post about this equal pay. There's at least 10 responses talking about, oh, it's based off of percentage of revenue. And guess what? Women earn a higher percentage of revenue. Why are they still peddling this? Do they just ignore the mention? Do they just ignore that part of it? Or do they actually believe in equality of outcome over equality of opportunity? Do they believe over equal pay over a meritocracy? I'm genuinely confused about how that happens. I did have a conversation, I had a conversation with my mom about it because I wasn't sure. My mom is one of those where she's probably more left-leaning, I would say. She identifies as an independent. She votes in every election, but she doesn't vote for either political party. She votes for the candidate. So I believe she voted for Bush, but then she voted for Obama both times. She didn't vote for Bush the second time, I think it was. So I had this conversation with her, and she has these leanings. She absolutely despises Trump, and she always makes these comments about Trump being stupid, doing these dumbass things, and so I wasn't sure her opinion. I sat down with her at dinner one time and asked her, what do you think about this women's soccer pay thing? And she was honest, and it was a really good discussion because she said, well, I feel like I don't know enough to make a comment about it. Which is, I'm actually really good to hear that, because with how biased the media is, how biased Twitter is, which she doesn't really use Twitter, how biased Facebook is, which she uses Facebook, and how biased just the general media, like the news organizations are, which she does watch as well. I think she watches CNN, but I'm not sure about that. I'm surprised she didn't get brainwashed into it. But she knew about the situation, but she didn't understand the logistics behind it. And when I explained it, it made total sense to her. And that's how it should be for a lot of people. Unless you literally are against a meritocracy, unless you're against freedom of opportunity, it should make complete sense to you. I don't understand how it doesn't. If anyone here has an explanation, please let me know in the comments. Why is this so hard to understand? I mean, it's a lot easier to understand like the 77-cent wage gap. It's a lot easier to understand the misunderstanding around it because of the misleading data and how if you take the average salary of the salaries of the men versus the average salaries of the women, which doesn't factor in anything like commission. So it's not about revenue generation there. It's about other factors that are underlying that are a little deeper. I mean, obviously the wage gap is a myth. And it should be easy to understand, but it should be a lot easier to understand this. It's just not entertaining to watch these. I mean, it's the same thing for men, like men's high school basketball. Our men's high school basketball team at my high school was fairly good. My senior year, at least. The other years, not so much. My senior year, they were fairly good. I think they made it to the quarterfinals for state or something like that. And I went to a couple of their games, and the bleachers were practically empty. I mean, the student section was pretty full, and then everyone else, it was literally like just their parents, and that's it. And that was the men's team, and then the women's team was even worse. The student section was like 10% full, and then everyone else was literally just the parents. So it was like ridiculously low. But I mean, there's just that skill difference. It's less entertaining to watch women's sports in general, as a general statement, than it is to watch men's sports. Even if the men's team performs worse than the women's U.S. team, the national team, it doesn't matter. It's still more entertaining to watch the men because there's more skill there. The competition is better. That's why people enjoy watching it. I'm gonna give you an example, and this is not to brag because I suck at basketball. I can shoot a three-pointer, and that's literally it. That doesn't make me good. I suck at basketball. And my freshman year of college, the first time I went to the gym with my buddies in my dorm to go play basketball. One of them he was really good at basketball. I'm pretty sure he walked onto the Oregon basketball team, but I don't think he ever actually played. But he was good for someone who was just going to play a pickup game. And we get there, and he starts talking to this girl there who's like, she's like 5 feet tall or something like that. And she comes out to play with us. And as she's talking to us, and then she mentions that she's on the women's basketball team. She's the starting point guard for the women's basketball team my freshman year of college. I don't know what year she was, but she was the starting point guard. And I was like, oh, shit. And due to the height differences, she had a bunch of tall guys on her team. I'm the one who had to guard her. I suck at basketball. At my peak, when I was at my best, I wouldn't be able to make the freshman team of my high school. Like, I am not good at basketball. And I trampled her. I mean, it was too easy. She was trying hard. I mean, she could dribble, but anytime she drove in, I was able to easily, close the lane. So she'd have to pass out. So many times I forced her to pick up her dribble in an awkward spot. I mean, it was too easy. And this was the starting point guard for a women's college basketball team getting outperformed by someone who is terrible at basketball because of the gender difference. I mean, there's a skill difference between the genders. It creates a lack of entertainment. And as a result, women generate a lot less revenue. No matter how much you push it, no matter how much you're like, oh, we need to get this out there, it's due to the lack of exposure. No, it's not. Women's soccer, women's sports in general, like the WNBA, is shoved down our fucking throats. But we don't want it. We don't care. I mean, anytime you see like the NBA account tweet about the WNBA, people are like, no one cares. Fuck off. I don't give a shit. And then the NBA players are feigning support for them, for the WNBA, to make it seem like, you know, they back other basketball players. And they do, generally. But they act like it's super entertaining to watch. It's not. There's a reason why the WNBA is losing money. And there's a reason why men's sports earns more money, generates a lot more money than women's sports. Oh, and if you want true equality, pay men more or pay women less. It's that simple. Thanks for watching, guys. Sorry I haven't uploaded in a while. I moved from Philadelphia to Houston. I've been focused on my main channel related to gaming, and then also towards my car because I bought a Nissan GTR, and so I've kind of been more into car YouTube, and then also been focused on work. So I haven't really been able to upload in a while. I apologize. I'm gonna try to upload more. If you haven't joined my Patreon, the link should be in the description below. Talk about politics, and yeah, thanks for watching. Be sure to have a nice day. Peace.